What started out as a fairly typical winter system has quickly exploded into a massive weather crisis, turning Europe's Christmas week into a serious test of endurance. From snow-choked mountain ranges to rain-soaked lowlands and battered coastlines, this powerful storm is delivering multiple threats at the same time. High in the Alps, especially across northern Italy, snowfall has piled up by the foot, not by the inch. Entire ski towns are buried, mountain roads are shut down, and some communities are completely cut off as crews struggle to keep paths open. Travel through key mountain routes has become nearly impossible. Meanwhile, lower elevations are dealing with a very different danger. Hours of non-stop rain have pushed rivers close to overflowing, triggering top-level weather alerts in several regions. Authorities are warning about flash flooding and landslides as water saturates the ground and drainage systems are pushed to their limits. Along the coastline, strong and gusty winds are whipping up rough seas, increasing the risk of coastal flooding and erosion. Ferries have been delayed or canceled, ports are on high alert, and holiday travel plans are being disrupted at the worst possible time. Emergency response teams are active across multiple countries, urging people to stay off the roads and avoid unnecessary travel. Officials say this storm isn't dangerous because of one single factor, but because of how many hazards are hitting all at once. For millions who are hoping for a calm and joyful holiday season, this storm has delivered something very different, a reminder of how quickly winter weather can turn unpredictable and, in some cases, life-threatening. High above the valleys, the storm has delivered its most intense and dangerous chapter in the Alps, creating scenes that look stunning from afar but are extremely risky on the ground. Snowfall here has reached levels rarely seen in modern times. In northern Italy, ski areas like Prato Nevoso and nearby alpine regions have been overwhelmed, with total snow depths climbing close to 10 feet, and more than 5 feet piling up in just a single day. Meteorologists say snow was falling at an incredible pace, roughly 4 to 6 inches per hour. At that rate, roads, railways, and visibility can disappear in minutes. Mountain highways quickly turned unusable as snowplows struggled non-stop, unable to keep up with the constant accumulation. Officials were forced to shut down major mountain passes, suspend train service, and impose strict travel restrictions, allowing only emergency vehicles in the hardest-hit areas. Several high-altitude villages were essentially cut off from the outside world. Access was limited to rescue teams moving through near whiteout conditions, where visibility dropped to almost nothing. But the snow itself created another serious problem: weight. Heavy, wet snow strained infrastructure across the region. Power lines sagged and snapped, rooftops required constant clearing to avoid collapse, and communication networks became unreliable in remote locations. At the same time, avalanche risks surged. Layers of dense, moisture-heavy snow stacked on top of older, unstable snowpacks, pushing conditions toward a breaking point. Authorities responded by issuing high to extreme avalanche warnings, urging people to stay away from exposed slopes. What may look like a winter wonderland from a distance is, up close, a dangerous situation. Officials emphasize this is not just another snowstorm. It's a massive structural strain on the mountains themselves, turning the Alps into a frozen pressure zone where conditions can change fast, and every passing hour brings new risks. As the storm slammed the mountain regions, a quieter but just as serious danger was building at lower elevations. Warmer air wrapped into the system, turning snowfall into hours of steady, soaking rain. That rain quickly overwhelmed drainage systems and soaked the ground, setting the stage for flooding and ground instability. Across central and northern Italy, officials issued the highest-level weather warnings, cautioning that non-stop rainfall could loosen hillsides and push already swollen rivers past their limits. Small streams turned into fast-moving, muddy flows, spilling over rural roads and inching closer to homes. Emergency crews tracked river levels around the clock, especially in areas draining out of the Apennine foothills, where water levels rose dangerously fast. Because the soil was already saturated from earlier storms, it didn't take much rain to cause runoff. Water, mud, and debris rushed downhill with little notice. In several areas, the storm created a risky overlap zone, where cold air kept heavy snow falling at higher elevations while rain poured down just below. That combination raised the threat of sudden meltwater surges and made travel especially dangerous. Drivers reported rapidly changing road conditions, shifting from pooled water to slush and then ice within a short stretch. Officials warned that a lack of deep snow didn't mean lower risk. Flooded roads, landslides, and structural damage often happen without the dramatic scenes of a blizzard. In many towns, the greatest danger wasn't snowdrifts, but unstable ground giving way beneath the surface. A clear reminder that winter storms can be just as destructive when rain is the main threat. As the system pushed farther south and east, its impact reached the coastline, adding a new layer of danger. Strong northeasterly winds swept coastal areas, with steady speeds near 40 miles per hour and stronger gusts slamming into the shore. Offshore waters became rough and unpredictable, driving waves toward beaches, ports, and river mouths already under pressure from inland flooding. This clash of forces created a serious bottleneck. Rivers swollen from days of rain struggled to drain into storm-churned seas, raising the risk of flooding in estuaries and low-lying coastal communities. Emergency officials warned that even if rainfall slowed, water levels could keep rising simply because runoff had nowhere to go. In some coastal areas, winter embankments and protective dunes began to erode after repeated wave impacts. Maritime authorities limited vessel traffic as visibility dropped and seas grew more dangerous. Coastal roads faced closures due to standing water and debris, while tourist towns that normally prepare for seasonal crowds instead braced for possible evacuations. Officials said this phase of the storm revealed its true scale, showing how a single system can trigger multiple threats, from mountains to coastlines, all at the same time. What started high in the mountains didn't stay up there. Snow, rain, powerful winds, and rough seas merged into one massive system, spreading trouble from steep alpine peaks all the way to coastal towns. No area was spared. As conditions intensified, emergency services across the region shifted into full emergency mode. Civil protection teams went to work around the clock, sending out hundreds of responders, heavy snow-clearing equipment, and specialized rescue crews to keep critical routes open. In the high-altitude areas, operators ran enormous snow blowers that hurled snow nearly 100 feet, cutting narrow paths through towering drifts that seemed to rebuild almost as fast as they were removed. Down in lower elevations, the threat changed from snow to flooding. Fire crews and technical units staged pumps near rivers and flood-prone neighborhoods, while engineers checked levees and embankments for any sign they might give way. Road crews worked non-stop to clear mud, rocks, and debris from key roads, only to shut them down again as fresh runoff surged through. Hospitals and emergency medical teams adjusted schedules and staffing, preparing for a rise in weather-related injuries, from traffic accidents to slips, falls, and cold exposure. Utility crews faced some of the toughest and most dangerous conditions of all. Heavy snow and strong winds brought down power lines, cutting electricity for thousands of homes. In remote locations, repair teams used tracked vehicles and snowmobiles to reach damaged lines, often working in near-zero visibility and freezing temperatures. Throughout the response, officials repeated one clear message: cooperation saves lives. Ignoring road closures or taking unnecessary trips only added pressure to systems already stretched to the limit. This storm had become about more than just weather. It was a test of how long emergency defenses could hold. As the storm continues, its impact is no longer measured only in snowfall totals or rainfall amounts, but in disrupted routines, strained resources, and growing losses. In mountain communities, residents have spent days shoveling rooftops, carving out access paths, and checking in on neighbors as isolation and exhaustion slowly set in. Power outages have pushed many families to depend on backup generators, fireplaces, and emergency supplies just to get through the night. As temperatures keep dropping after sunset, communication remains spotty in some remote valleys, adding to the uncertainty and stress on the ground. Holiday travel has unraveled across large regions. Train service has been halted, major highways are closed, and airports are running under strict limitations. Travelers who came expecting a cozy winter getaway instead found themselves stranded, sleeping in hotels turned into temporary shelters or in public buildings opened by local officials. For small businesses, especially those that rely on seasonal tourism, the timing could not be more damaging. Each day of forced closure means lost income during what is usually the busiest and most profitable week of the year. The agricultural sector has also been hit hard. Heavy, water-soaked snow has collapsed greenhouses and storage structures, damaging winter crops and vital equipment. Along the coastline, shop owners are preparing for extensive cleanup as flooding and erosion threaten storefronts, sidewalks, and public walkways. Insurance claims are expected to surge, adding long-term financial pressure to an already difficult situation. Officials are warning that recovery will take time. Even after the precipitation ends, compacted snow, unstable terrain, and damaged infrastructure will remain serious challenges. For many communities, this storm has transformed what should have been a festive season into an ongoing emergency, one that will leave lasting impacts long after skies clear. And as the storm slowly begins to weaken, authorities stress that the most dangerous phase may still be ahead. A sharp drop in temperatures is expected behind the system, raising the risk of black ice, delayed avalanches, and sudden infrastructure failures as saturated ground and heavy snow refreeze. Roads that look safe during the day could turn deadly after dark, and slopes that seem stable may collapse without warning. Meteorologists say what makes this storm especially concerning is not just the snowfall or rainfall totals, but the way multiple hazards struck at the same time. Mountain regions buried in snow, rivers overflowing, and coastlines battered by flooding, all from a single system. These compound weather events strain emergency response efforts and leave little margin for error. For residents, the message remains clear: move carefully and stay patient. For governments, the storm raises urgent questions about preparedness, infrastructure strength, and how frequently events like this may occur in the future. What once felt rare is starting to feel routine. This is not just a story about a disrupted holiday. It is a reminder that winter extremes are changing, and communities must adapt as nature continues to push new limits. If you found this report useful, please like the video, share it with others, and subscribe for ongoing coverage of the powerful weather events shaping our world.